Let's bring in Senator Marco Rubio, Republican from Florida. He sits on the Committee on Foreign Relations and the Select Committee on Intelligence. Senator, good to have you. Big task in front of you. You've been critical coming into this about needing to do more with ISIS. You've heard the plan. Are you on board?
Well, I think generally we're in a much better place with the president than we were previous to the speech a week ago, a month ago. I mean, he's come a long way. I mean, he called the ISIL a JV team a few weeks ago. Now he's acknowledged the serious threat that they are, and that's good. A few weeks ago, he said it was a fantasy to be able to arm a bunch of bankers and pharmacists and turn them into an effective fighting force, talking about the moderate rebels in Syria, and now he wants to arm them. So these are good things. I do have a couple of concerns with the speech last night. The first, I think it was a mistake to equate this conflict to what we've done in Yemen and in Somalia. We've certainly had success in those places, but those remain very unstable and dangerous places and real threats to our national security. I also think ISIL poses a risk that's very different from the risks posed by terrorists in those two countries. ISIL is a terrorist group, but it also has insurgent elements to it. I mean, they are working with people on the ground. They control territory. They've got funding. They've got military. They carry out military-style operations. They pose a much different risk. And here's my last concern. What I didn't hear the president say last night is we are going to defeat them no matter what it takes. And that's important, because the cornerstone of this strategy is that we are going to work with local forces, the Kurds, the Iraqis, the moderate rebels in Syria, to defeat them on the ground. But what if that doesn't work? Does that then mean that ISIL gets to stay? Does that then mean that ISIL gets to, continue to expand? And I think it was important for the president to say that no matter what it takes, and we hope we can do it with these local forces. And I agree that that should be the first effort. But ultimately, we will do whatever it takes to defeat them. I thought that was important. He didn't say that last night, but certainly, I believe we are in a better place today than we were a week ago with regards to our strategy.
Good. So, if you agree that it will take whatever it takes, if you understand that it will be a long fight where this first plan may not get it done, then you are basically laying out the rationale for why Congress must vote. Anything that is extended in duration is fundamentally war under the Constitution and requires a congressional vote. Your brothers and sisters are running away from a vote, and we both know why. You're not up in the midterm, but I know you have your eyes on 2016. Will you push for a vote? Will you vote?
Yeah, first of all, I think the president has the authority to immediately act on this crisis that we're facing, and I don't think that should slow him up. And I agree with the president that he has the authority right now, not just to conduct operations in Iraq, but in Syria. This is an emergent threat. Now, this will be a long-term process, and we're going to have to address it. And I do think it's wise for him to come to Congress and seek authorization, number one, because we're stronger when we do it that way, and number two, in order to have a prolonged and sustained operation that this is going to require, it's important to have that congressional support. They're going to have to pay for it. They're going to have to be committed to it. So I think it is important.
By the way, Senator, you are they. Are you going to push for a vote, and will you vote yes?
Of course. I think it's important that we, as I said repeatedly, I will vote to authorize this action. But I don't think he needs authorization to act today or tomorrow or next week, because this is an emergent crisis. But absolutely, we should vote. We should give him the authority to move forward on this. This is a critical national security issue. We should put politics aside. This is not about embarrassing the president or midterm elections or anything else. This is about the national security of Americans, Republicans, Democrats, independents. Everybody is threatened by this group.
So again, not because you're not clear, but so many people down there have not been clear and been skirting it. The president asked for authorization last night. That should trigger a request for a vote. If there is a request for a vote, you say, yes, we should vote.
Yeah,
you should vote
absolutely.
Right away, and you will vote
that 4
yes.
times.
Well,
yes.
because you know how many people are ducking the question, right, Senator?
Well, I can't answer for them. You should interview them and ask them why they're ducking it. I've been calling for action on this for the better part of 2 to 3 years. I think it's important. I am glad that many of the voices who have expressed skepticism about being involved here have finally come around. But absolutely, I am. Look, this is a national security threat. We shouldn't. Look, it's okay to hold the president accountable for mistakes he's made. It's okay to hold Congress accountable for mistakes they've made. But this is a national security threat. If anything should be above politics, it should be an issue like this that threatens our national security. And if there's any day of the year that should remind us of that, it is this anniversary of the September 11th attacks. Because when terrorists come after Americans, they don't ask for your voter registration card.
No small irony that on 9/11, 13 years later, we're having the same discussion we had the day after it happened, was how do we stop the threat coming out of that part of the world? And when you talk about what you need to do to take care of that threat, you get to a very tricky issue politically and practically. You have been outspoken saying we have to take out ISIS. It's going to be harder than we think. Do you think you can beat this foe without the best fighters in the world on the ground, and those would be the U.S. fighters?
That's an open-ended question. We don't know the answer to that. Now, certainly, I don't think that you can beat them without the cooperation of ground forces from Iraqis, from Sunnis themselves, who have to reject this group, as they did in the awakening in the mid-2000s, without moderate rebel elements in Syria. Because think about this for a moment. If you defeat ISIL in Syria, and there's not a moderate, more reasonable group there to replace them, then that void will be filled by another radical Islamic group like al-Nusra or any of the other host of groups that now operate in that space. So I think it's critically important that we do have viable partners on the ground, but it may very well, I hope it does not, but it may very well require at some point the engagement of, at a minimum, special operations forces and potentially ground troops. But I don't think that's something we need to do right away. I think the ideal outcome would be that on the ground, it would be local forces that do the work. But we need to be honest with the American people. It could require that. And the choice there is not whether we want to go to war or not. The choice there is whether we want to accept ISIL as a permanent fixture or not.
Well, Senator Rubio, appreciate you being on New Day this morning. This is all about leadership now. The president, inarguably, showed it last night. Now it becomes, what does Congress do to back him up on this? We'll be watching very closely. We look forward to your actions going forward. Thank you very much, Senator.
Thanks for having me.